Hey everybody, I wanted to organize a quick video overview to show a product called Separation Studio. And this is so valuable to an InkSoft user because it allows you to take orders for high resolution digital images and allows you to automatically color separate that for the screen printing purpose. So in the event that you get an order, it has a digital graphic and maybe it's a quantity that you would choose to screen print, this is a tool that would be very beneficial. So I'm going to take you through the workflow of using Separation Studio, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a design from InkSoft. So let's go and keyword search for a design, and I'm going to search for football. So we'll go search for football, and I'm going to grab a piece of football clip art, and we'll create a, we'll just go through the process of creating sort of a fake order here, just so we can get access to the design so I can show you how Separation Studio works. So let's go grab a high resolution digital file. So let's grab this football with flames coming off of it. This will be a perfect file to use. And what I'm going to do is I'll pretend that I'm an end user. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a dark garment. So the real value of Separation Studio is it's going to prepare the separation for printing on either light color garments or dark garments. So it's going to help you generate a underbase and also a highlight white. And I'll walk you through that process. So now that we've chosen a design, I'm going to go choose a dark garment. So here I'm going to choose black. And you can see that view now. I'm going to click Customize it. And I'll change the size. And we'll just do a quick checkout here so you can see exactly how we would take a file from inside of InkSoft and then bring that into Separation Studio. Okay, so I'm just going to position this design. I'm going to click Add to Cart. We'll go ahead and add this to the InkSoft shopping cart. And I'm going to do a fake checkout with a purchase order just so we can get access to this football. So wait for the page to refresh here, and here you see we're in the InkSoft shopping cart. Here is the design, as you can see, positioned on the dark garment. So ordinarily, for some screen printers, this may pose a challenge, to take a full color digital image and prepare it for printing on a dark garment. So if the quantity's right, you need a proper tool in order to do that. So what I'm going to do now is go to checkout, and I'm going to check out with a purchase order. So I'll just enter in an arbitrary purchase order here and click Pay Now with Purchase Order. And now I'm going to go ahead and log in, and we're going to go and retrieve that particular transaction. So I'll click on Orders, and from Orders I will select Approve Orders. And from the order in bucket, I'm going to scroll down all the way down to the bottom. And here I'm going to select this particular transaction. So once that window opens up, you can see the payment on this order has been marked as pending. Please process the purchase order before confirming. All I'm interested in is grabbing the actual design. So you can see here we have a raster PNG. So I'm going to go ahead and make that selection. I'm going to grab the PNG file. Now PNG has a transparent background. And let me go back to that order so I can show you what that means if you're unfamiliar with what a PNG or what a transparent background represents. So I've launched this in a new window. Now you can see there's no white box behind the design. So it's transparent, just applies itself on top of the garment. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that football image now, and we'll close down these windows. Now what I'm going to do is transition. I'm going to transition into discussing Separation Studio. So let's launch Separation Studio. This is a product that is both Mac and PC compatible, so it works with either operating systems. Now notice when I open it, it's very, very simple. It's not a cluttered or complicated workspace, as you can see. All right, but before we go on, here's our preview of the image that we just did a fake purchase in InkSoft. So you can see again it has a transparent background represented by the gray. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this. So I'm going to go File, Save As. Let's save this to the desktop, and let's just name this Football so it's easy to retrieve. Go ahead and save. And we're just going to move that to the desktop now so we can import it into Separation Studio. So let's go ahead and close this preview down. And let's get back to Separation Studio. So as you can see, it's a very uncluttered, uncomplicated workspace. It's actually a very, very simple tool. Its purpose, again, is to allow you to import a digital design similar to this football image that we've just retrieved from InkSoft. And it's going to automatically color separate it. But then we have a lot of advanced controls to make decisions. So what I'm going to do now is click on the Open function here, and I'm just going to import the file. So I'm going to go to my desktop, choose the football image, and select Open. Now you'll see the software is going to do some thinking, and again it's going to process this graphic through its algorithm, and it's going to make decisions, and automatically it's going to separate it into 9 channels. Now of course you're not going to screen print necessarily 9 channels each and every time. It's really dependent on the actual graphics. So it's relative to the design, how you want to output. But what I can do in terms of decisions, you can see the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the channels below to eliminate unnecessary colors or channels. So we're going to focus on the bottom now with this channel preview here. And this preview is great. It lets me select a specific channel like red, and I can see the data on that channel. Here's the gold channel. Here's the base white. Here is the top white or the highlight white, or as other people call it, the magic white. Now, again, starting at the left, here we have the proof positive. This is so important. The proof positive is your guide and your tool to allow you to make modifications and see how that's going to impact the job. So before I actually have to print films, burn screens, get on press to see the impact of my changes, I can do that virtually using a technology that's built into this software called ViewWrite. And as the name implies, it's your ability to view and get the right response. So here, notice this, I'm clicking on the proof positive, but if I deselect the red channel, look at the impact that that may have on my proof positive. If I reselect the red channel, I'll see how that's going to impact my proof positive. We'll come back to that in just a moment. I'm just trying to introduce you to the workspace here. Alrighty, the next workflow in this process is to really eliminate or combine channels. So you can see here, if I click on blue, you'll see that there is no data in this channel. So it'd be absolutely unnecessary to generate this blue channel. So what I can do is right mouse click and I can delete that channel. I don't need that information in that particular channel. The same is true of purple, green, and turquoise. You can see that there's no data on those channels. So I can go ahead and right mouse click and delete. Now your other options, you can go to the channels drop down menu. Let's say that there was a little bit of information on the turquoise channel. There was a little bit of information on, say, the purple channel. I have the ability to combine, which means I can merge these channels with, say, another channel. So I'm taking the graphic data, the information, and I'm just shifting it so it's going to be shared across other screens. So we're just basically going to, sort of create an effect using other colors to reproduce that turquoise. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and delete because, again, there is no data on these channels. So you can see automatically, or manually rather, by making some decisions, I've reduced this to a 5-color print. And I'm going to walk you through the process of how this would imprint. So what I'm going to do is go back to the proof positive here, and I'm going to basically take you through what I call like a virtual press walk. And this is your opportunity to get a sense of how this file would actually imprint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect the red channel, the gold channel, the gray, and the white. And so what I'm going to do, the first channel that we would print, of course, is going to be the base white. And that's, of course, if we're printing on a dark garment. We need a foundation. We need a base to imprint those other colors. Now, this would be a wet-on-wet print process, meaning you would print the base white, you would print red, gold, gray, and then the top white. And that's all wet-on-wet. There is no flashing in between, which is a good thing. You're going to save time. You're also going to save and be more efficient in terms of energy. You're not running your flash unit for every pass. So again, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to print the base white, and you can see we're laying down that foundation of white. The next color, and this is in the right color sequence. As you can see here, it's dark to light. So I'm going to print the red layer, and you can see the impact that that has. As soon as I mix the red with white in different intensities, different saturation levels, you can see the effect that I get. So more red combined with the white produces more of these brown tones. Whereas if I use less white, it's going to help produce some of the flame elements in this particular design. Now if I introduce gold into this, you can see that effect. Now if I introduce the gray, you can see the effect that that has. Now see how small that is. In fact, the only, if I click on the gray channel, for example, you can see the data now represented on the gray channel. Now mind you, I can change the ground color. Now the ground color is the substrate that you're going to print on. So if I'm going to print on a red garment or a brown garment or purple or white, I can change the ground color, and now again you can see the data that would be on that particular channel. So this might be an easier view for you to virtualize and see how this would look. And of course I can zoom in and out. Well, notice there's not a lot of data on the gray channel. Now going back to the black ground color, because again, our goal is to print this on a black substrate, you can see that there's not an entire range of data on the gray channel. So again, I may choose by toggling on and off with the gray, I may make the decision, you know what, this isn't an absolutely critical separation or channel. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And again, now I've just reduced this to a 4-color screen print. So again, let's work through this in terms of a virtual press walk here. So first print would be the base white, and you can see that now. Next print would be the red, and you can see how that interacts with the white. Next, we would blend gold. We're mixing gold on top of those other 2 colors to get these effects and range of color. Now I'm going to add the magic white, the top white. and you can see the impact that that's going to have. It really brings out dimension in the design. So you can see now, let's zoom in here, so you can really see some of the highlights that come out as soon as I imprint the top white. You can see that effect now. Now, I want to point out, the next step in this process is controlling the saturation. So looking at this, I'm not satisfied with the red that's actually in the flames. I want to bring that out in a little bit more dimension. I also want to bring out some of the red and the gold. So here's one of the most awesome things about this software is the ability to adjust the saturation. Now we can do that in a few methods. Method number one is I can double click the channel from the right hand side. So you can see these channel previews here. Really good purpose. So notice if I hover my mouse over a specific part of the design, it gives me the percentage of that particular color in that particular area. So you can see where my mouse is hovered now over the white portion of the football. We have 73% base white, 4% red, 12% gold, and 60% top white in that particular area. So what I can do is double click on the actual name of the color, and here I get the ability to adjust the saturation of the color. So you can see if I adjust the high saturation, using this scale here, you can see the impact that that has on the design. So you may use these to globally, you're changing the entire layer. In fact, I'm going to go to the red preview here. We'll just select or deselect the other channels, and I'll have to cancel this for a moment. We're just going to click on the red. I'll go ahead and double click again to adjust the saturation. So you can see if I really crank this up, look how much red ink is going to be laid down. Whereas if I back down the saturation, it's going to, of course, not lay down so much red ink. So again, these controls let you globally adjust the file. So you can see the low saturation. So I can bring out the low tones, and then I can bring out the high tones in here and really control this and dial in those particular settings. So one way to do it. Another way is, again, if I just want to bring out the red in the flames, I can select that red channel and I can choose the saturation tool. This is probably what I use most often. So if I select the saturation tool, I can now go and choose the diameter for my brush, and I can also control the hardness and also the range. Do I want to control the midtones, the high saturations, the low? I can really control what part I'm going to impact. Now you can see if I zoom in here, and let's go and reposition this, I want to bring out, again, the flames. So what I'm going to do is choose that saturation. So notice when I bring my mouse and I left mouse click and hover my mouse, you can see how it brings out that dimension from that particular area in the design. Now going back to my proof positive, I'm going to see the impact that that's going to have on my design. So you can see all that red that I just brought out, that wasn't there previous to bringing out those red tones. So again, I'm going to go and jack up my brush here, make this really large. I'm just going to do a coverage area that's really big, just for examples here. So I'm going to go and really rock out the flames in this particular design, but I'm not going to impact the actual football because I like the brown. I'm just going to go ahead and make the flame part of this really come to life and really come out. So again, back to proof positive. What's the effect of that particular change? You can see it on screen. Well, maybe I'm going to see what enhancing the gold would do. If I saturate the gold in this particular design, how is that going to impact the look of the flames? So I can go back to the proof positive and see that impact. So now you really see a lot of dimension coming out in this flame, and I think that this is really appropriate. So you can see how using the saturation tools in the software really allows you to dial in the details, and this is something that you don't have to do in Photoshop or Corel Photo Paint. I can do it using the TrueView right inside of this technology. Now, of course, there's some other tools like the marquee and the lasso tools. This is a way for you to go and select a targeted area. So using these three tools, I can go and maybe pinpoint, if I want to bring out the dimension of a really specific region, I can use these tools to go and indicate that region. So I can go and grab a square, or I could use the lasso tool or the polygon lasso tool. Some of the other tool sets that you have here is you have an eraser, so you can actually erase some of the data from a channel. And then notice here with the sponge icon, let me go back to that icon here. As you can see, let me go and extend this view. So you'll notice the other icon here is the sponge icon. This is the desaturate tool. So let's say there's a particular area in the design that's way too intense and you want to just tone it down a little bit. You can use the desaturation tool. So that's really the workflow for Separation Studio. You can see it's a pretty quick process here. Again, using the TrueView technology, I get a sense of any changes that I make, and I can get a sense of how that's going to impact the actual print once we get on screen. Now, of course, there are some steps that might be required before you get into Separation Studio. So I want to make the point, garbage in, garbage out. So if you start with miserable artwork, you're going to get a miserable separation. This tool is intended to take art content that's been prepared properly and separate it. In this case with the football, that's a high resolution, great quality file with a transparent background, no problems. Now, let's say that a client emailed you a web logo. Separation Studio isn't going to take a really small, 25 DPI, 50 pixel logo and produce immaculate content from it. So garbage in, garbage out. But what I'm going to do to execute the final sort of stage of this is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to say Save. And I have the ability to now save this as an EPS file. EPS is typically a vector format, encapsulated PostScript. But encapsulated PostScript meaning it's saving all of the channel information, all of the print information. So I'm going to save that now to my desktop. And what I can do at this stage is I can import this file into Illustrator or CorelDRAW, and I would have my 4 color separations. In fact, let me take you through that process here. So let's go ahead and open up Adobe Illustrator. Of course, this would be the same workflow in CorelDRAW. And what I'm going to do is place this file into Illustrator, and you're going to see the spot colors, the colors in the palette. So we're going to have white, we're going to have a base white, red, gold, and then a top white. So this is again going to be a 4 color job. So again, the application for InkSoft users, if you get an order with a digital file and it's on a dark garment and it's of a quantity that you would choose to screen print, this is a tool that you can use to reduce the number of colors that are needed to output that particular design and to be able to output digital high-end prints. So what I'm going to do now is click on Print Document. So, well, we'll get Adobe Illustrator to cooperate with us here. So let's open it up one more time. What we want to do is just create a document, size it to maybe whatever imprint area you're working with. I'm just going to create an 8.5 by 11 just for this purpose. What I want to do is go to the File drop-down menu. I want to select Place. And here I have the ability to browse for the file. So I'm going to click on this football EPS file, and I'm going to place this in the document. Now don't mind the black ground color. That's not going to output when you print your films. So you can see here, let me go to my colors, and what I want to do, you can see where my mouse is hovering. We have number 1, white base, number 2 in the print sequence, red, number 3, gold, and then we have 4, top white. So you can see our spot colors, our colors right here, 4 colors to reproduce this high resolution digital file. So Separation Studio is a world-class piece of technology. It used to be the world's most expensive Photoshop plugin, some 17 years ago. There is nothing else in the industry like it, and that's why we suggest it and recommend it for InkSoft users, because it does a damn good job of, again, going through the color separation process for screen printers. Now, the name simulated process printing isn't accurate to describe the software. The software actually takes an RGB value bitmap and decompiles the information. So there's a few other software products, Photoshop plugins for simulated process printing. They don't work the same as Separation Studio. So, this is sort of the Rolls-Royce of, separation tools. So definitely take a look at it. If you want to know more information, make sure to reach out to us. We can send you some more info on this product. It is truly an amazing tool, and as you can see, how that would help you in the production process.